So I wanted to make this to just kind of like talk about some things that I like and some things that have kind of been involved in the channel and just kind of like things that are going on in my life. So what I've been playing, watching, and reading. If you know whose content that is, then big ups to you. I feel like that's like kind of niche thing, but yeah, so I thought it would be just kind of interesting to talk about some like certain things that you might have gotten hints of on the channel, and just some like really interesting things that have been going on recently, both in the world and in my life, and how they kind of like relate to one another. So if you're interested, that is great, and if only 5 people are interested, I'm totally fine with that as well. I just thought that this would be kind of like a fun opportunity. I feel like the first thing that I was thinking about is like games, because obviously, you know, my channel started to grow with a big like focus on video games, and I just think that that's like really interesting. And obviously I'm like really interested in how video games can kind of like intersect with more meaning, and I mean movies and books and all of that, you know, how these like stories can kind of be important and like what we can learn from them and like what kind of lessons they can teach us, and if we can glimpse, you know, things of like significance just from like games, you know, a game like Call of Duty Zombies, you know, that's kind of interesting. That's kind of like an interesting suggestion, as I'm just kind of playing Call of Duty Zombies but using this like as an outlet to be able to like talk about things that you might not necessarily affiliate with Call of Duty Zombies at all, but it just happens to be something that I like, and I think it kind of goes well with some of the things that I talk about in a way. Like, I feel like maybe I'll get into that a little bit, but I mean, specifically the only games that I play, like my top games are Elden Ring, like From Software in general. Like I play all the From Software games are my favorite, and then followed closely by like Call of Duty Zombies. And that's like pretty much all I play. Like if I'm gonna play a game, like these are gonna be the games that I play. They're essentially like all I want to play. And I don't really have interest in a ton of other games. Like I do, but like nowadays, being an adult and a busy person and someone who's in school and just like with a lot going on, like very much, you know, am not spending my time playing games as much. And so when I am playing games, I play things like this, like my favorites. I just spend time playing with my favorites. So obviously you can see here we're playing Call of Duty Cold War, which is sort of interesting, but that is because I like just recently got Black Ops 6, and so this is so was playing some like Cold War to like get engrossed in it, and then I'll have some gameplay up probably soon of me playing BO6 Zombies, which I'm trying to kind of like feel out and see how I like. And I'll just tell you, I haven't played like a super large amount of games yet, but I am like enjoying it so far. And I've seen kind of a lot of different opinions about it online, but I think it's pretty good so far as like a long-time Zombies fan. You know, I wasn't expecting a return to form, but like some of the maps that we have gotten since it launched seem pretty good. Like I actually feel like the way that they're treating the DLC season has been pretty decent, and they just seem better than Cold War overall. But I'm gonna just see if I get over the novelty of that, and then maybe it ends up not being true, but I feel like it just feels like that for now. So I kind of hope that that's the case, but it very well may not be. So I'm not, you know, getting too attached here and saying that this game is like really good or anything like that. I'm not gonna come out and say that, but maybe I'll have more thoughts on BO6 like coming up. But do you think, like, can you see when I say that there's like a similar vibe between Call of Duty Zombies and like the lore and the story and the vibes and I don't know, even like the essence of Call of Duty Zombies and like the From Software games? Like if I say that, does that make sense, or does that seem like a wacky thing to say? Because I feel like to me it makes a lot of sense in my head, like why these are like the games that I like, and like how they relate to each other. I feel like there's a lot of esoteric and like confusing, you know, bits to them, and I feel like they kind of go together in that way. You have to learn a lot to even have an idea of what's actually like going on in these games. You know, it's not like you can't just jump in and know the story of Call of Duty Zombies, and you can't not jump in and know the story of any From Software game either. So I just think it's kind of interesting in that way. I don't know, there's something about that I guess I like, and like they're both kind of based around, like I feel like they both have things that are of religious and mythological significance, which is obviously like a lot of what I talk about on the table, so, or on the channel. So I think that's kind of interesting. I don't know, am I crazy or is there something there? But yeah, so those are the games I play. Like I feel like I got off of a From Software kick and have been on a Zombies kick since BO6 came out, because I've been just like interested in it and wanting to keep up with the game and what's going on. So I feel like that's where I've been at presently. But I'll certainly think I'll be back on like a From Software kick soon enough. It's not something that I never stay away from those games for too long. I guess I feel like the hottest take that I'm gonna have like at the moment is that I'm really enjoying The Tomb, which people are like super in between about. People are not enjoying it at all, and I feel like I am. I don't know. I've only played it a couple times. I just wanted to play it like as the newest map that came out. I just think it's really interesting how much people are like hating on it. It seems like people just kind of died out of BO6 and were wanting more from the DLC season, kind of, but I don't know. I feel like I'm not authorized to comment yet, aside from just saying like I was enjoying it myself, just playing it, and I like the way that it feels. So far, better than anything that I liked in Cold War. I feel like I don't know, I was like weirdly positive and negative about Cold War. I was definitely not a Cold War lover, so I don't know. I guess to me it feels better. Anyways, to take a brief rejoinder from, you know, what I'm playing, watching, and doing, I feel like some important context that not everybody on the channel might know. I've mentioned a couple times that obviously I'm a student. I'm a graduate theology student, and that's obviously a lot of what the content on the channel focuses around. So like that's where a lot of my interests come in, or that's, I guess, reflective of a lot of my interests, but it's also reflective of a lot of what I've got going on. So I feel like the biggest thing that I'm struggling with at the moment is not being able to read as much as I would want to, because I'm having to spend a lot of time like reading stuff for my school assignments, and so that's been taking up some of my time. I've been like trying to finish some books that I had on my list, and I just keep getting, I feel like I'm just one of those people who just constantly is flooded with more books on a book list that I want to read, because there's always stuff that I'm trying to read. But yeah, so like I wish I don't know, it's hard to say. Like I've enjoyed some of my college books, but I just feel like they're not quite my pace. Like I can read academic books, but like, I don't know. I feel like it's really hard to enjoy academic books in the same way, you know, it's just not the same as, you know, reading, I don't know, like picking my interest at the right time. So it's funny because I get to pick my class schedule. So I've picked very specific classes that are like the ones that I wanted to take at the time, but then I feel like I'll start the paper, like I'll start whatever paper I'm supposed to be working on for the class. To like the way that most of the classes are structured is that you write essentially one major paper about the whatever the focus of the class is. You'll write like one major paper on that content, and so that has been like, I'll start it and I'll be really interested in the topic, but then by the time I get towards the end of the class where I'm really putting together the paper, I feel like I start to lose interest, because something else will come up, like another question or come up, or I'll have like a conversation here on YouTube with somebody about something specific, like the topic of spiritual warfare or another topic, and then my focus goes there, and I'm like, oh man, I really want to, I need to read a book on this right now so that I can get, you know, the information that I feel like I need in my head. And obviously you just can't do that, you know. I have to focus on what I'm working on for the class at the moment, and you know, and I don't know, not get distracted with other stuff. I mean, which is not true to some extent. Like you can still do some reading. I'm reading fiction in my spare time at the moment, so I guess this is a good segue into like what I'm reading. So like right now I'm reading Milton, like John Milton's Paradise Lost, which is, I feel like something I've definitely mentioned on the channel, but you know, this is something I'm a big fan of. I feel like I've studied Paradise Lost but never actually read it, so I'm trying to like read the original. I guess I'm reading the original deal. And that's been kind of fun because it's like in between academic and interesting, you know, like I wanted to, and then it also lends itself to being sort of a theological kind of philosophical text in many ways. So I feel like that's been cool, and I've been enjoying it. I'm just getting through it like really slowly because I feel like I, you know, end up having to put time aside and then get distracted and then have to like backtrack a little bit, which is not super detrimental, but it's also just not, you know, ideal. But yeah, that's kind of been what's going on with my reading plan there. I feel like it would be a fun idea. I'm not sure what people feel about this, but like one thing I saw recently is there's even a huge resurgence in book clubs. People are now having a reading club where they'll pick a book with their audience, or pick a series of books, read through one a month with their audience, and I think that's so cool. Like PewDiePie is doing it. I just think that's so funny. Obviously, I don't really have an audience in the same way, but I just wondered if that would be anything that people would find interesting, because I sure find it interesting, you know. Anyways, so I've been playing zombies and reading Paradise Lost and watching. Watching is an interesting one. For also those channel people that don't know, I'm married, so most of the stuff that we watch together, different movies and shows. So I don't know about you guys, but the biggest thing that I've been feeling lately is that everything is disappointing. Like, I say to my wife regularly, they don't make good content anymore. Like, it's so rare to find good shows and movies to watch anymore, especially movies. Like, movies, I feel like get the brunt of it. Like, there has just not been a good movie literally since Dune 2. That's my opinion. There has not been a single good movie since Dune 2. I think I would be comfortable saying that. I don't know. I would love to hear some movie suggestions of something that just has like a good, interesting, and I'm not even like opposed to a just action movie that is slightly more interesting. Like, if it's just, you know, a good old action adventure movie that's actually like good and not just trying to throw various things in your face, or it's not trying to teach you anything, and it's not trying, well, a good movie should teach you something, but it shouldn't. Everybody knows there's a complicated line. Like, there should be a theme, but it shouldn't, you know, throw anything at your face. Otherwise, it's too much. But anyways, I feel like that's not even the biggest problem. It's just like the quality of content in general has not been good. Like, people are not putting together as good of things as they used to. They're not doing a good job with it. I don't think anybody's putting care and effort into their scripts, into their storytelling, into their CGI. People aren't getting enough time to work on things, and everything's just being done not well, in my opinion. I don't know if you guys are feeling the same way, but I'm definitely feeling that. So anyways, trying to think of something good is kind of hard. Obviously, The Chosen is great, not to just like continuously plug my Christian shows that I talk about, but you can check out my video on season 4 of The Chosen, reviewing how awesome and amazing that was. And we just got a trailer for The Chosen season 5, which looks really excellent as well. And I'm definitely going to be making some content about that on the channel too. I think that'll be good. There's some other type of interesting entertainment I'm just trying to think back through. One interesting one that I was willing to engage with was Severance, the show by Apple that is in its 2nd season now and is getting really popular. So I only watched season 1, and I have maybe more mixed feelings than I was expecting to, because it had been like hyped up and people were like really enjoying it and telling me lots of good things about it. And so we finally decided that we were just going to watch it, and just the 1st season. And I'm waiting to do the 2nd season until it's all out or whatever. I don't know. I'm not paying for an Apple subscription any longer than I have to, but that's just personal vendetta. And I thought the show was really good. I think the premise is really good. If you haven't seen it, I'm not going to spoil anything. But I do think it could be perhaps an interesting show to make a discussion about on the channel, because it has, I think, religious significance. I think there's a lesson obviously about work culture. I mean, there's so much to be said about work culture, like 9-to-5 work culture. And I think that that's really good. And then the religious part is where it gets really interesting, because I'm not sure, my biggest thing with it is I'm not sure what they're trying to tell us with the religious point. And I don't think they're sure either, at least in season 1. Now, maybe they're building up to something which they're going to get to in season 2 regarding the history of like the family, without saying too much, regarding the history of the family and the things that are going on in Severance. But I haven't yet seen enough to make me like really cement and say this is a really good show. Because if they disappoint me in what they decide that premise is going to be, like this is the hardest part of having a mystery box show. And everybody always talks about this. This is what J.J. Abrams did wrong with the Star Wars sequels, is that we opened a mystery box and there weren't any answers to the mysteries decided, or at least it certainly seems that way. And so when you have a mystery set out and the mystery doesn't have good clues and answers, then the mystery falls on its face. So no matter how good it starts, and I happen to think that The Force Awakens is an incredible Star Wars movie, and then it falls on its face because we had no idea where we were going. So I fear the same thing with Severance. Like, I think it's good in concept, it's fantastic acting, set pieces, directing, everything is done really spectacularly. But the question is, where is it going? Is the reveal going to be good? And is the religious lesson that it's trying to teach, possibly about hell or whatever the focus is, again, without saying too much, is it going to go somewhere, actually? Or do they not have anything lined up? So that's what I'm waiting to see. We'll have to see when I come back on season 2 what I think about that, but I don't know. I'm not 100% sold on any of it just yet. Other than that, I feel like I'm just disappointed in everything I've watched Like, it's just not very good. We went to see Captain America Brave New World, and it's just so mid. It's like the definition of a mid movie. There's just nothing interesting, nothing new, nothing different. Weird plot concepts. I'm not going to go into it. All the reviewers have hashed it out. It's just weird choices all the way down the line. If you guys can't tell, I know I haven't said it explicitly, but obviously I am a nerd along with being a Bible nerd, and those are the two things that kind of connect my channel, because I talk about both, like video games, media, and Christianity, and I feel like that is kind of the things that I bring together. You should be able to see, I'm looking back at my backdrop right now, but like if you watch my other videos, you should be able to see I have Star Wars and Batman and various video game paraphernalia on my shelf behind me when I'm talking in all these videos. So I'm assuming some people have noticed that. I'm actually really interested in doing that going forward. So maybe that's a good next phase to pivot this to, is a little sneak peek for anybody who's actually listening to this about like what I kind of want to do in the future with the channel. And I mean, obviously continuing the stuff that I'm doing, at least the stuff that's successful, because I just can't like advocate for making really high quality content if people just aren't interested in the subject matter, or if maybe I did a bad job of it, even though I made it high quality. That's fair. But like I did an iceberg video that I thought would be a really good idea, and nobody watched it, and so I just can't advocate that. Like, it took me so long to make that video, so long to edit that video, and like research, like that was one of the longest and hardest videos that I worked on, and it just did not receive the support that it needed. So I just cannot advocate like continuing that series, so I'm not going to, unless like somebody takes an interest in it. So in the meantime, I have to look at other things that I want to try to do. And obviously the most successful video on the channel is my Elden Ring analysis and my Elden Ring video, though that is alongside my Chosen videos, which are also very successful. So what it tells me is that I need to refine this into talking about media through the lens of Christian theology and philosophy, whether that's my video games, movies, shows in the Christian space or out of the Christian space. And so I think I want to incorporate more of that stuff. So I do want to talk about like more of my nerd stuff. I have some ideas for some movies that I want to talk about on the channel, like non-Christian movies, but movies that have some serious themes and stuff. So I have a good idea to that. And then I'll just say to anybody who cares, I am working on another big From Software analysis, and that should be upcoming soon, I hope. I'm almost done scripting it. I've been working on it for a long time, and I think it's going to be good. So I hope that people like that one as well. So I have that in the plans. Chosen Season 5 is coming up, so I'll probably be talking about that as stuff comes up, just like making various videos. And I'm going to continue my video essay series of like talking about specific theological like lessons and stuff while playing video games. I want to continue that. And then I feel like I'm not sure which aspects of people like of my content the best. I know that it kind of each performs differently just depending on the day, and I think there's a lot of luck involved. I think I'm always going to do the interviews like just occasionally. So like I obviously have done some podcast style episodes where I'm just talking to people. I've done like 4 of them with like 3 different guests, and I just enjoy that so much. It's so fun to talk to people and learn that kind of stuff. So I think I'm going to end up doing more of those, even though those don't perform the best of all my videos. They're still super interesting to me, and I just am not going to... I've just decided a long time ago that I'm not going to not do things on the channel just because other people aren't interested. Like, I'm always going to put it out there. If there's, 100 people watching, that's pretty good. If 100 people want to tune in and check out something that I do, then I'm happy about that. That's a lot more than 5. So I'm okay with that. So I think I'm probably going to end up continuing to do those interviews. My most recent one with Malcolm about Hades is just so interesting. And I hope that anybody listening to this has watched that, because it's just really, really, really well done. He's just an excellent person to talk to. So I very much am interested in doing more of that content. And it will be coming up, but I'm just trying to sort things out. I have, I think, a lot more kind of video game related content coming up, along with clips from that. And then I'll be proceeding into there, probably into the media analysis that I want to, the other media analysis that I want to do. Obviously, those are just longer videos. I'm trying to get a video out every week because I think it's valuable to just keep people's interest there and let YouTube know that I'm a content creator. I'm just not confident that if I just like randomly drop a video out of nowhere that my audience is gonna like pick it up, even if it's the content that they were here for to begin with. I just feel like they might have completely forgotten who I am by the time they see it or something like that. Not that it super matters because I don't have a ton of subscribers and returning viewers, so it's not quite the same thing. It's hard to say, but I think I'm gonna do that just to be diligent, and I think that that's a good idea. The thing I want to go back and forth on is the like talking about theology while playing video games series. I've gone back and forth on those. The first one that I did was casual. It was like while I was playing and I'm just talking about like a subject. I picked the existence of God and I'm just talking about like my personal thoughts on it. And it's not backed up with anything. It's not formal. It's not scripted. It's just me yapping. My other ones I have done based on research, and I scripted them. And then the scripts are, a lot of it comes from my schoolwork. So I'm picking like stuff out of my schoolwork and then turning it into a YouTube script and then YouTube scripting that over gameplay. And I really like those as well. I think maybe less people are interested in that because it's not really as fun and it's a little bit more educational, but I really like doing those. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do is go back and forth, and the Gamer of Life series, as I'm calling it, is going to just be both. It's going to be, some of the videos are going to be scripted, and I feel like I'll point them out because they'll probably have more theological titles or something. Whereas the ones that are not scripted might be a bit longer and they might be more like chatty, more like live streams, sort of like this, where I'm just talking and there's gameplay going and just talking about that. I've seen like a resurgence of that content on YouTube lately, of people just like playing video games while talking about something. That's like old school YouTube content, and I really like it. And I think that we should keep doing it. So, you know, it's basically one of the things I started doing on this channel, so I want to continue doing that. I think it's a good idea. Probably the biggest thing is that I do finish school in the spring, so I'll be done in like 2 months, basically. I should be done with school, and then I should have a lot more time to maybe work on more scripts and put in like more significant hours into video content, researching video content, and then I'm able to make more videos that are less off the cuff and a little bit more, you know, heavily researched, scripted, longer videos, because I'll just have more time to work on them, edit them, and stuff like that. Because I just never want to put out content that's not like well taken care of. I just feel like it would be, I don't know, rude of me to your guys' time, and like I'm not gonna make just useless content. I'm gonna make it useful. So like I'm talking about things that interest me, and then I'm editing it well, like to the best of my ability. I'm not a professional editor, but I'm editing it like succinctly so that it doesn't sound like crap, and I'm you know, invested in some gear so that it doesn't look and sound like crap, and then, you know, putting it together as good as I can, and, you know, working to make that content interesting, working on thumbnails, you know, working on stuff that is takes time and effort, because I'm going to put time and effort into it, whether it's, you know, pouring out or not. I just think that's the best approach. That's the approach I'm taking to YouTube right now. Maybe I can do a separate discussion like this on whether or not you should become a YouTuber. I keep seeing those everywhere. Sometimes I'll tune in for one of like, you should create, you should be a creator, you should be a YouTuber, just start your YouTube channel. It's such a hard thing. Like, I've enjoyed it so much, honestly, but it is a lot of work and it's exhausting. And it's really difficult when a video that you work really hard on, it doesn't get a lot of views, versus a video that maybe you don't work as hard on and then that gets a ton of views. And it's just crazy to see how it fluctuates and how people's interest fluctuates, and how what you think is like a really great idea is not even as good as some mid idea that you just like randomly came up with. And it's really crazy to see that kind of go back and forth and fluctuate. So I think that's been the biggest learning curve, but I still really like it. I really like having just my 200 subscribers. Actually, right now we're like almost to 300, so I'm really excited about that. It's just a fun little thing for me. So I'm enjoying doing it. I enjoy making the content. I enjoy talking about this stuff. I think it's useful to get the information out there. I think it's nice to have a place to talk about these things. And, you know, I just want to kind of reach out in this way. It's kind of the person that I am. I want to talk about these things. I want to bring Christ and theology, apologetics and philosophy and those kind of things. I want to make them accessible to people through things like video games and movies. I love themes. I love stories. And I just want to make that clear. I think that it's such a useful medium. And this is kind of my way right now of using stories to talk about God and talk about faith and life and those kind of things. So I feel like that's pretty much it for this video. I wanted to just talk about what I'm what I'm doing in my life, what I'm reading, what I'm watching, what I'm engaging in, and some channel updates. And I don't know if this is going to be a recurring series or not. I just felt like maybe it was the right time to kind of test the waters and see if I have some recurring viewers who are going to listen to something like this. So if you are here at, I don't know how long it's been, 25 minutes, maybe more, probably more. If you're still here and watching at this point in time, I really appreciate you, and I appreciate if you comment down below and let me know that you're watching this long and what kind of content interests you and what you think of how the channel's going and all those kind of things. And I appreciate the support. I appreciate the interest. Every little bit counts. So thanks for watching Credence Questions, and I hope you have a good one.